It's real late, and my man, your Old Droog, is in the building. What's happening, bro?
We're back.
Back
again. How you feeling, man?
I got to tell you, I'm feeling great.
Nice.
I'm feeling hip hop enthused right now.
You know, I don't do a lot of interviews, man.
I know. I'm having a run of talking to people who don't talk that much. This is fun.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I remember I did the 2 interviews with you early on.
Yep.
Like people started recognizing me. I was like, I don't like this. It's like somebody at the barbershop, like, I saw you on Hot 97. And then some dudes who shall remain nameless saying, yo, you ain't shout me out on Ebro.
Someone said that?
Somebody thought I was on like the other show.
Did you say no? I was on with Rosenberg. He
didn't care. He was just like, you ain't shout us out.
Yeah. By the way, that's the story of my life. So sometimes I think that people think the name Ebro is like a word that encapsulates multiple people.
Right.
Like I don't think
it's more about what it represents.
I guess. I'm like, do you know that it's a person's name? You know what? Don't worry.
It's like Sade.
Right, exactly. And like I'm in the band.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, this is all things my therapist hears about.
Right.
Speaking of therapy, this album movie is personal.
Absolutely.
It's really, really good, man.
Thank you.
How many albums do you have now?
I stopped counting, man. There's a lot. But I mean, like, when you say album, I have like a different idea of like what makes an album. Like when you have a budget and things surrounding it and you get to push it, that's more of like an album. Like something I recorded in somebody's kitchen is not an album, to me.
So what do you consider that, a project or
that's definitely an album.
This one, movies?
Yeah. I feel like Time is an album. Certain things that I had, transportation, those are albums. But I feel like movie is definitely like, to me, it's like my debut in a way.
Why is that?
There's certain records, like certain things I talk about on certain records where I feel like it took like 20 years to even unpack it and talk about it on the record. So I feel like, damn, I wish I talked about this in 2014 type thing, but I wasn't mature enough, you know what I mean?
That's really interesting. Did you do this album with like backing or no? This is all you?
It's independent. I released it, but yeah, there's people, there's a distributor, there's a physical distributor. I still have, things in place.
And so there was some level of support.
Absolutely.
But you don't generally move with support.
I don't publicize that. It's my business. You know what I mean? I'm an independent artist. You know what I'm saying? So.
But like the story I told on One Ep though about going to the show and I was like, you know what? No all access. And you were like, I should probably have a manager for stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't have a manager.
So you don't have a manager.
So like day of show, like I'm in a mindset where I got to perform. I'm not thinking about guest lists.
Yeah, so, now guest lists come.
You know what I mean? It's just like dudes texting me at like 8 o'clock, like, yo, throw me on the list. I'm like,
of course. I'm out.
I don't know.
But so why no management though? And have you had management previously?
Yeah, I did very early on, but I feel like I started making more money without a manager and I just kept it that way. But I mean, I feel like I need somebody to step up to the table and do something I can't already do for myself.
I totally understand that.
At that point, it's like, all right, I'll cut you off with a percentage. But that's if you're bringing money in,
Right. If I'm going to keep doing the level that I'm at, the kind of work that I was doing, and you get a cut of it, that business-wise doesn't make sense.
I mean, I have assistants, I have people who help, but they don't get like a managerial type cut.
Right. You just hit them off.
Yeah, but I mean, if somebody brings like a good deal to the table, I'll break you off. Like.
Right. And so I guess you've never had, so I guess what would happen organically in theory is that someone would bring you something, it would go well. Then they'd bring you something else and it would go well. And then at that point you might be like, hey, maybe we could just keep doing this.
I want somebody who's as good as me at what I do at management. Like, who's the Michael Jordan of management? Like, who's the Kobe of like, I want to meet that person. You know what I'm saying? Then I don't mind.
Well, what would you need? Like, realistically, looking at yourself, because I think you're realistic. I've noticed you've made a few jokes since we've been talking.
Okay.
It seems like you're at a stage in your life where you're sort of honest about your shortcomings and your strengths.
Right.
What are the shortcomings, or what is the help that your personality could use?
I mean, that job, like somebody else who could be a dick aside from me. Then it's like, if I'm being a dick, they're just like, yeah, it's awful. Like, we don't even want to do business with them.
Right.
But I'm just protecting myself as an artist, as a business person. Like, I don't want to get screwed. So I got to say no to things. Like, I try to do it respectfully. But I feel like a good manager is somebody who could just pick the phone up, has relationships, and can make things happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Somebody well-versed in that specific field. Not somebody experimenting or, trying to anybody could be good at that job, but it's like I want somebody who's experienced, who could just. I can't believe we're talking about this on the air. It's like,
No, this is
it's like hit me up on LinkedIn, y'all. Like I'm taking applications.
Wait, so you never had a full-time manager though? Or
I did, but you know, it was I didn't know the business. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know what a manager did.
Right.
It's like, manage me. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, and you know, listen, there are artists of certain personalities, and I think I might include you in this category of people that are challenging to manage, in that you have high expectations because you're really good at what you do and you work really hard, but you're also kind of no nonsense, and you don't really want to play the game that much. You're not a big game player.
I'm here to play now.
But you've been
yeah. In the past, it was just like, once I realized that I didn't need to be all out in the public to get money, I was good. Like, I'm like, I could just stay in the cut. Like, before the pandemic, like, I wasn't doing interviews.
Right.
I was just getting bags, recording music, releasing it. Didn't even have to do
what,
videos.
And residuals would come in, you do a feature here, like just stuff like that?
Yo, one feature made me ineligible for Medicaid. Like, I'm like, that's it.
Right.
Like, we're doing good. I don't need to be like, and plus, there was like a lane created by somebody like a Doom where, like, you know, somebody's not that social or doesn't want to be out on the forefront, but they could still be successful. Like, he laid the blueprint, you know what I'm saying?
Did you communicate with Doom?
Through the music.
Not on a, like, never kicked it?
We have mutual, nah, he was like in the cut, you know, and he had, you know, some health issues too. But I've heard things, you know what I mean? Like, I asked Madlib, how did you hear about me? He says, Doom, put him on. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is Doom like, where do you have him in sort of your pantheon of?
In the pantheon.
Yeah.
He's in his own lane. He got his own mountain, I feel like.
Right.
But to me, it's like when I became like disenchanted with hip hop, when I stopped listening to Hot, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was like 18 or something like that, it was Sean Price and Doom that kind of brought me back to hip hop. Cause I was like, yo, I'm done. Like,
this is, here, pull the mic a little closer.
Yeah, you got it.
Like turn it, like, no, see how it can like swing?
Okay.
Like you can swing it towards you. There you
this?
go. Perfect,
Got it.
exactly.
It's not blocking my face.
No, you're perfect.
All right.
So,
The fuck?
so you said, oh, did it start leaning too much? There you go.
Boom.
I remember where you were too. You said Sean
When
P.
I stopped listening to Hot.
Yeah, you said when you started listening.
Is that not good?
No, I don't care. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like just after ringtone era.
I'll tell you exactly when it was. Like, I'm listening to Hot 97. I'm hearing Fabulous and Neo Make Me Better like a million times, and I like that song.
By the
when
way,
it
in
came
retrospect, that you didn't know how that's pretty good.
out. Yeah. I'm like, listen, I like the song when it came out. You hear it like 300 times a day, I'm done. Like I can't listen to the radio anymore.
I hear you. That was
So-
right when I was starting, by the way.
Yeah.
That was in
It's funny
regular
how that-
rotation. Yeah.
So I check out at that point. Like I stopped listening to hip hop, and I'm like listening to classical music and certain like experimental rock things, just in my own bubble. Like I'm not getting this from like rock magazine or like a hipster list. I'm just like I'm really listening to what I like. And then one day there's like an animated like video on TV, and some dude is rhyming. And at first I'm like, yo, this is like some Gorillaz type shit. Like, what is this? Then I'm listening to the rhymes and it's really good, and it's Doom. It's Mad Villain. So that messes I didn't even know like there was this type of rap that existed.
Wow.
I thought it was just Fab and all this other stuff. I didn't know it existed.
But you're rapping already.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you hadn't done anything for real yet.
What do you mean, professionally?
Yeah.
No, I was just rhyming on the street and going to different neighborhoods, stuff like that.
Where were you rhyming on the street?
Everywhere, man. Like in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Harlem, everywhere. Like just battling, you know what I mean? But also doing public access. Just being like a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like sharpening the sword, like really getting nice too.
Was there anyone who had taken an interest in you at that point who was like a more of a statesman?
Let me think. In those days, no. Sasha Jenkins heard me when I was like 20, 19. That was like the first person I knew who had like a foot in the industry. I was like, okay. And he was telling me I'm the greatest then. I'm like, yo, you're bugging. He was like, I wrote Eminem's book and you're the greatest. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
wow.
I'm not even Droog yet. You know what I mean? But
What was your name then?
I don't even have a rap name at that time. It's just like I'm putting stuff up online, just letting the rhymes speak for themselves. That's what he heard. And then I think he linked me with like a few people trying to get on. That took a little while, and then like it worked out in 2014.
So what happened in 2014? I don't even remember what step one is anymore. For
Yeah, I mean, I made that project. It was uploaded to the internet, and some kid from the Midwest or something on Reddit took it, uploaded it with Nas's picture with the audio sped up, and then it was like, but Sasha wrote a piece on Mass Appeal too, so they started like, getting sleuthy and shit. Like,
so what people started saying it was actually a Nas
yes,
project?
Yeah.
What was your initial reaction to that?
I'm just a laid back, like private person, so that's a weird thing to have people speculating on your identity.
You know what I mean? It's just yours is weird.
Yeah, and it's just like, but what I wanted was for people to just hear the rhymes and be like, yo, it's dope. It don't matter where this guy's from. That was my goal. But also, like, we had no budget in the videos that we shot with Wack. I was like, I don't want this to come out. Like, I want it to be right. I want everything to match what I'm doing. So I felt like, we got this video, but it's not that great. So I was like, let's just put the music out. That's what I was on.
And how far did it go initially? Because like I remember around like your name, it pretty quickly took on like as far as underground goes, some real interest. Yeah,
it was on and popping. Like I got Prodigy calling my phone, telling me, "Yo, I'm listening to your project. I'm
Wow.
in Europe." You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
He got these visions for my career. Mac Miller sending me beats. You know what I'm saying? He was like the fastest texter of all time. Like, as soon as I sent a text, like, I'd get a text back. It was like, I see why you're successful, sir. Like, this is like a real personable guy.
Yeah, he
but
really was.
that was important. Like, Sean Price being a fan of mine was like, it meant something to me. You know what I mean? At that time. But I'm also like...
Is it coincidental that all three of the people you just named are all gone?
Sad. I wasn't even thinking about it.
You weren't thinking. You were just thinking about the ones that were impacted, like how meaningful they were.
Yeah, but even like ASAP Yams, I knew him from like my battling days. He was like one of the first ones to send a DM like, yo, congrats, like you made it out, like you hand glided back into this rap thing, like, cause I quit for a while. He knows when I stopped being into rap and listening to classical. Like I was like, fuck this rap shit. So for me to bounce back, another dude was gone. That shit is crazy. But it's like, also the label meetings, it was a lot to deal with. I was like 24, 25.
You were taking the label meetings by yourself?
No, I had a manager at the
Okay.
time. And just like consultants. And it was just a lot. Like I didn't know what to expect. Like, so I'm sitting here with like Paul Rosenberg and No ID wants to sign me. And I'm like, yo, where do I sign? You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, there's an art to closing deals and making things happen. And I don't think we had that at the time. You know what I mean? That's why I needed to manage myself. I'm like, yo, nah, we can't have these opportunities present themselves and nothing happens.
So you had multiple situations come up in which it would have been appealing to sign, but it ended up not happening for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like kind of deferring to other people's expertise or what I thought was expertise, and I was like, okay. They're like, yo, you should stay independent. Somebody who shall remain nameless is being offered $3 million. We feel like you could get that. But what I learned is that like when you have that momentum, you can't just like think it's always gonna be there.
Facts.
So I seen that shit go. I seen it dwindle, and then dudes are looking at me like, yo, you're not doing enough. It's because of you that like, I'm like, all right.
That's
you know what I mean? It's like.
It's super interesting though, because everyone will tell you to go, go indie. Indie is great. It provides a lot of opportunity for you if you're not able to try it the other way. But if you could get the big bag of cash and the machine, you could have always went indie afterward. You ended up indie anyway.
I'm saying, like, I'm indie out of necessity.
Right.
I ain't have no fucking choice. But to me, it's like...
Was there a 7-figure deal on the table for you or no?
No, I think it was like $500,000.
Okay. And they were like, no, you should be getting in the millions. And in your mind, you're like,
yeah, but it's just like, yo, I come from fucking nothing. Like, I gotta, like, you gotta take something. Yeah, I don't know how my career would have played out. Maybe I would have crashed out or something. Who knows, right? So, but I don't mind, like, taking the longer route. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to burn a bridge to learn more about yourself on the walk around. And I feel like that's what I did. You know what I mean? It's like, who knows? Maybe I would have learned a lot more that way too, especially like in a mainstream capacity. But what is that? I don't know. What would that Droog album sound like in 2015 with the T- production?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that what it would have happened?
I don't know. You know.
Or would someone have gotten it and been like, nah, you need to do... Because like No ID, you'd have to think would have been able to figure out how to get that right.
Yo, I'm sitting in a meeting with him. He's like, we don't need to hear any more music. Like, I'm ready to sign you. Like, I'm going to put you on a track with Nas so they can see y'all don't sound alike. We're going to do this. We're going to set up your merch. I think he was describing a 360 deal. Okay. But I don't care. I'm like, let's get it. Like,
and by the way, maybe it would have been good. I
mean,
yeah.
And then somebody with me trying to play music. He just said he doesn't need to hear any more music. It's like,
no,
it's like a girl is ready to, lay down with you, and you're like, let me just do this weird dance to turn you off. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he said, don't play any music.
And whoever you were with said, no, let's play more?
No, he played some music. Later, we met in the studio. We met at Jungle City.
Okay.
Alicia Swiss studio. Yeah. Played some music. I'm like, somebody tells you don't play music, don't.
Yeah, let's just go. Let's just go with
it.
Because whatever they're feeling, whatever their vision is right now, if they're excited, let's run with that.
I'm gonna tell you what he was like. Look, I wasn't sure if you'd be able to carry it. Then I saw you on Sway. And he got it. He's like, okay, you're gonna be the first Ukrainian, all of this. Like, so when that doesn't happen, you kind of, lose a little hope. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, like that was a real opportunity, something tangible. But I still had like great meetings with like 300, and I met with a lot of people at that time.
What era was the very brief dalliance with Diddy?
Oh.
When you were writing with him.
You got to rephrase
Sorry,
that.
let me say it again. That sounded nuts.
No Diddy, please.
No Diddy. Well, I remember sometime around when we talked, you had just written with him, or written for him. When was that?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. So, great producer, 88 Keys, was like one of my biggest supporters early on. Like, to the point where, like, whoever he came into contact with, he was, like, championing Droog. Like,
he's that kind of guy.
Yeah, he was playing, like, nutty bars for his Lyft driver.
Right.
And, like, Kanye and whoever. So he played it for Diddy, and Diddy wanted to take a meeting. So we met, we discussed, like, writing. And, like, say what you want about Diddy. He's, like, a genius producer, and, like, Biggie, like, all of his work is, like.
No one would question why you should have taken the meeting at the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. But, I mean, there was still, like, a cloud of, like.
Well, you're an underground guy. So taking the meeting with the lord of mainstream pop-ish has its own thing. What was the meeting like?
The first meeting, it was in his apartment in New York City, and, he, it was just, I think it was on Skype first, actually. I don't know.
Okay.
And he had, a homegirl feeding him grapes on the Skype. Then we meet in his New York City apartment. Didn't take my Timbs off. I wanted to smoke. I was still smoking cigarettes at the time. Like, I was, like, uncouth. Like, I was about to, like, just light up a bogey in fucking Diddy's house.
But you didn't do it.
But he had the fluffy carpet and shit, so I was like, I don't want to take my Timbs off. So I left the Timbs on.
Okay.
And then same chick is feeding him grapes. I wonder if he forgot. Like, that's just his thing. But, like, yo.
You mean, like, you were like, hey, I already saw the grapes gimmick. You don't have to do it again.
Yeah, I'm like, what's he really trying to get across with
So
this?
what do you mean? So she's just sitting next to him and dropping them in his mouth?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, to me, that feels like the most annoying way to eat food.
But, like, does he, like, tell her, like, yo, I'm about to have a meeting, come bring the grapes? Like, how does that work?
I have no. It's a great point. I can't even imagine. I know it's funny to do the bit of someone feeding you grapes. It's like it's a good bar.
It's very Chappelle.
It's very Chappelle, but it really happened.
Yeah, it happened. And you know what? I want to say it happened in L.A. too, but I don't remember.
So you met with him a couple of times?
Yeah. We met even in that Manhattan meeting. He's just like, yo, I think you're great. I'm the MC whisperer. Like, when I work with MCs, like, but this the guy who signed Big. So I'm like, to me, Big is like the reason why I started.
Right. So you definitely want to hear what the guy has to say.
Yeah, I'm like, and I learned a lot too.
What did you learn?
He told me stop rapping like Cool G rap.
Literally, that's what he said verbatim?
Yeah.
By the way, rest in peace, DJ Polo.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Who passed away this weekend.
But nah, it wasn't just like,
but what
are you using too many words? You know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to be that lyrical. And I understood what he was saying. Like, I don't think I got it in that moment, but I think it informed my writing in a way. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, you don't have to be lyrical for the sake of being lyrical. Like, you could say something that's really complex in a simple way. I think Chief Keef was like really good at that when he first came out. Like, people would think like Chief Keef is just like, he's just freestyling or something. No, it's not. Like, he's really saying like poignant things. Like, so there's an art to that. You know what I mean? It's like, everybody's not gonna peep that. Like,
well, isn't it like it's like any art form. When you get really artsy fartsy with it, you think the way is to do the most all the time. You know what I mean?
don't like that shit. I personally, I can't listen to rap like that.
That's over. But by the way, it's not just rap. I mean, like, listen, God bless him. Judd Apatow gets in his own, he's in his bag, and he makes a comedy that's 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to see The Godfather comedy. Give me an hour and 45 minutes.
Nah, yo, Chris Rock had a good quote. Like, if your shit is too smart, or if it's only for smart people, it's not that smart. Like, if only smart people are checking for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's how I approach writing. Like, even before I met Puff, like when I was trying to get on, I'm like, I don't want my stuff to be too intelligent for like a dude on the corner. Like, I want it to work for that person and the person who like has 8 degrees. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point, though, by Chris Rock and by you, that you're right. Because if it's only palatable by smart people, then yeah, you weren't as smart with it as you thought you were. Because there are people who are able to make their thing connect to everybody.
Right.
And including smart people.
Yeah. I think that proves why dude was successful on such a like great level on a mainstream, playing field. Because it's like everybody's listening to this. We're talking about kids, grown folks, aunties, like all ages, teenagers. There's an art to making that work. You know what I mean? So,
do you aspire? Like, what level of success do you aspire to? It seems like, based on what you're saying, the new version of your Old Droog, this 2024, by the way, not super unlike Mock, based on the conversation a few weeks ago, sort of a desire to be like, hey, I'm enjoying being this, but I wouldn't mind stepping this whole thing up a level.
So I said it on the album. It's just like rappers competing with other rappers. I'm competing with Fish, the group Fish. I never fucking saw a Fish video on TV, never heard a Fish record on the radio, but they sell out the Garden 13 nights every year.
Baker's dozen, right?
So I want people to walk by your Old Droog on the marquee at the Garden and be like, what the fuck is a drug? And I don't care, you don't have to know me, I don't have to be famous, I'm not in this to be famous. But success, I want the highest level of that. Also to be like, yo, why not? Like, who cares? It's like, even if you achieve all your dreams, they're still gonna discredit you. So why not go all the way? You know what I mean? I don't have to like screw people over on the way there or be super cutthroat, but I want to attain the highest level of success.
And being an artist is the kind of thing, particularly if we're being honest, particularly if you're a man, that like you can sort of get into it in your 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
I mean,
hip hop is still young too. It's just like, it's 50 years old. Like, we just had this whole hip hop 50 thing. Like,
right.
She's about to turn 51. Like, that's like the age of women that I like. So it's like, let's do it. Like,
this is getting just getting to the sweet spot.
This is right where I want it. You know what I mean? To be like.
Well, but isn't that funny? I mean, it's almost like we're belaboring the point now of like, oh, you don't have to be young, but it really is like everyone for so long. And I still get this, bro. Like, I have conversations even right now where when talking about my career and the next steps that I would like to take, I just turned 45. Mm-hmm. People being like, yeah, but rap, is for kids. I'm like, rap is for kids. The kiddie rap is for kids. The grown rap isn't for kids.
Let me tell you something. 25 years old, like when I started making waves professionally, I thought I was ancient. I was like, yo, I'm done. Like, what is this? Like, I'm 25. Like, when I heard Chuck D as a kid, I'm like, this dude sounds like he's 40. I'm like, so, but he was like 26 at the time.
Correct.
So I'm like, damn, like, and that's just how they make you feel. And I got people in my corner telling me like, yo, nah, say you're 24 when we walk into this meeting. I'm like, does it really matter? Like, if I'm 20, but I realized like in a mainstream type of lane, it's like all that shit matters. Like they want you young. They want to take advantage of you and shit. It's like real predatory. But I think the more you know, like the more you experience, the more you learn about this business, like you're more equipped to succeed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, fuck what people got to say about age. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't care if you're like, is it good? Like,
is it connected with people?
Is the music good? Like am I listening to this like, yo, this is a 52-year-old rhyme, or is it like?
But here's the thing that's frustrating for me, like, and this goes for everyone who's in front of a camera or microphone. When you first get on, with very rare exceptions, you're not that great yet. You have something about you that's connecting. Like you said, you were 25 when you started having professional success.
Yeah.
I didn't get to New York until I was 27, right? So at 27, I started getting a buzz. If I go back and listen to me like pre-32, like those first 5 years, my voice quality is different. I still sound like college radio me. I was just a guy with a spark. I didn't even know how to do it yet. And then the second you're on for 5 years, cats are like, yo, man, you got to make room. Got to get out the way. It's the young.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm just getting.
And the person saying that is like 58.
Right. The person saying it's 58, and they were never in the shoes that you're in.
Yo, get out the way. Yo, make room for the young bloods. Like,
no one made. I don't feel like anyone made room.
Nobody made. Yeah.
Who made room for you to get on? Like you just pushed your way in.
Nah.
No one was
I wish I had like somebody be like, yo, here you go, sir.
Yeah.
This is how it's done. No, like it didn't. Yo, I had to like learn, like when people already finding out who I am, I'm like, I wasn't even refined with my technique. It's funny you talk about radio. Like I remember hearing like a Stern clip, and he was talking about like before he got on, and he was working at all these different stations in like Maine and Mass, and he's like, I was horrible. I had no voice, like, and I related to that. It's just like, just recording in the studio, like it takes a while to even be comfortable behind the mic. Like it's one thing to be nice rapping on a corner, but to be good in a booth and be, you know what I mean? And
well, how about this? With Stern, for example, you could jump ahead now. When you hear a random clip of his that pops up on the radio,
oh yeah,
in even when he was big already, like 98, I'll be like, damn, he still wasn't that great. He was wilding out, and he caught a lot of energy, but compared to where he would get to now, bro, if he would stop then, he would have just been a dickhead, a loudmouth dickhead who made a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Like there was so much more to do. We all have so much more to do.
But it's all those hours compounded that make you who you are, like no matter what your profession is. Like I keep saying, like, I feel like 10,000 hours is the minimum. Like people used to say like, oh, that's really like what you have to attain. Like, no, I feel like that's where you start. That's where it really starts.
How many hours are there in a year?
I don't know. That's something you got to Google.
Hey, Siri, how many hours are there in 1 year? So your 10,000 hours is only a little over a year of actual
That's
time.
what I'm saying, man. Like, I had 10 years of rhyming before I got on. So that's like one chapter. Then I got like 10 years since I've been a professional. That's something else. Like
another chapter.
Yeah, it's like there's like a master level, then there's something above that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be sitting here like, yo, I'm Lord God Samurai, Lupe of the rap shit. But it's just like I know things that other people will not know because I'm having certain experiences. Like when I was working on a set for Bowery, like in rehearsal, I'm sitting back, I'm thinking about all the great MCs that I might have heard like just when I was young on the street who never got a chance to craft a concert set. And you learn so much about rapping, performing yourself as a MC through that experience and on that stage where it's just like, that's the only way you advance. It's like going to the gym. You know what I mean? So
that's a really interesting
I was
point.
really like in a reflective mood, like, yo, wow, like I'm getting better. Right? I'm getting paid to get better.
And that's a really interesting point you said because, Bowery's not a huge venue.
Right.
But to get to that level to where you can fill that room and the people want to hear your songs, that's a certain level. It's interesting. So My sister-in-law is seeing a guy whose daughter is pretty big in music.
Okay.
Right?
Billie Eilish.
Her name is Billie Eilish. No. Billie Eilish. No.
It's funny if it was.
Billie Eilish is the shit. No, me and my wife would be geeked if it was Billie. My wife is an Eilish. She's a Billie Eilish fan. But no, but she's at a level where she tours internationally, and she sells out in all the major cities. She sells out like 3,500 to 5,000 seaters.
She's beyond.
No, so bro, I had to like explain to her dad.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, he's happy, but he's talking about the next level and where I said, just so you know, if you never get to a next level, touring 3,500 seaters is fucking out of here, bro. Like, the amount of talented people who can never get to touring 30.
That's what I'm saying.
Like the levels, bro. Just getting to a place where you could do consistently 250, 300 people and move around and keep doing it.
Yeah, or 1,000. Like, you know how many people would be cool with just like, let me do 1,000. You know, I have my little business, I can sell my vinyl, have a website. They'll be good. That's
bro, 1,000's a lot.
Yeah, like, and you got all these other opportunities that come about. Like,
what's the main way that you make money? Is it just the records? Is it streaming?
It's definitely not streaming.
It's definitely not streaming.
No. It varies. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like there's so many ways to get money. Like, you could just get a large chunk for a show or a feature or an album or whatever, you know.
And merch does pretty good.
Yeah.
Merch, vinyl.
We did great that night.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that show too, like your experience.
It was a great show.
Yeah. I
was just regular.
I'm glad you got to see me live too. I feel like that's the best way to show somebody like what I'm about musically, you know what I mean?
And what was going through your mind when you do craft a set? Because it does make you realize like which songs, like, oh, I think this song is dope, but nah, I'm not playing this for 4 minutes. This song should be a minute. This song should be 2 minutes. It definitely changes the way you look at your music.
Yeah, I approach it like a comedian too. Like, you got to know when you have the audience in the palm of your hand and when you're losing them. It's kind of like being on the radio too. Like, you know when like dead air or like something's boring, you got to fucking move on. So that's the mindset that I'm in. And plus, just like, I'm going to let y'all know, like, I'm selfish. I'm entertaining myself. I feel like if I'm having a good time, the audience is having a good time. If I'm fucking bored and just doing like the songs the way they are, you know, I'll be miserable. So,
who's your favorite rap show that you've seen?
I haven't seen a lot of rap shows, but remember there was like a duck down like 15-year thing, and then KRS came out and did Bridges Over, and I was like, yeah, that right there.
It doesn't.
It's like,
I don't know if it gets better than KRS.
No. I think and I just watched like his performances on YouTube. And I'm like, nobody could fuck with that dude on stage. Like, his vocal projection, the presence, just like the energy.
I don't think anyone can.
You agree? Is that your top?
I don't think you can be a better performer on stage than Chris. Actually, he's playing like next week.
Where?
Lincoln Center.
I just did that.
The outside?
With Monch, yeah.
Oh, you do the Monch show. That's right.
Yeah.
So he's doing one out there with J. Period, doing a show with him and Slick Rick. If you're in the New York area, they're free. Like, just it's just free. It's crazy that they do it. But Chris he may be unbeatable. And the crazy thing is, you can go to live shows, and there are other people who make their live shows by doing lots of interesting things. The funny thing about KRS is he's not doing any tricks to make you interested. It's just the way he performs the music.
Let me ask you this. What percentage of that do you think is the quality of Bridges Over as a record? Like, because like everybody doesn't have that type of record in their set or their repertoire.
But no,
you know what I'm saying?
But to me,
you don't think it matters?
I mean, that's one of them, but it's the way he raps on every record.
Yeah, motherfucker, man.
Because think about the way he raps on Outta Here. The whole way he raps on every record, he's talking like he really is rap at its essence. He's talking to you. Like, you can hear what he's saying to you.
I think he's number one as far as like delivery and just like, when you talk about like, we just discussed getting better and all that stuff. He was great, Criminal Minded, But like by like the Premier records and all of
Oh,
that,
man,
like
different level.
No, it was just like the clarity. He got that clarity. That's what it is. Nobody's like
No one's as clear.
Nobody's saying you cannot like misquote KRS unless you're like, I don't know, from a different country. But even then you'll probably get it.
Because it's so clear.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so clear. He is in that category that I love to bring up. It's made up in my head, but I love this. He's in that category with Ghostface.
Okay.
Of I don't care what room they're in. I don't care if Eminem's in the room. I don't care if Jay-Z's in the room. Don't care if Nas is in the room.
What if Rakim is in the room? They in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Rakim's like, he's different. He's like almost his own thing altogether. But yes, like, yeah, Rakim too, though. They're in the same boat. No one who's more famous or more rich or more successful, none of them could really walk around with their shoulders up like they're bigger than KRS if KRS is in the room. You can't. I don't care how much bigger you are.
We're not talking about ego either.
No,
it's
just respect. Like, you know that the level of respect for what he does.
Listen, man. Like, you got to understand, like, I was born in 89. First time I heard of KRS, I think it was the Nelly beef.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, like, I'm not even understanding, like, especially at that time, like, KRS isn't, like, on top of the game. But later on, when I get older, I go back and I do my research, and it's like, but I mean, you hear things like...
Can you remind me what the Nelly beef was about again?
I think
Nelly
had a song called Number
One.
One. So it was like, it's such a whack beef.
By the way, it is hilarious, though. And by the way, funny truth, Number One's one of Nelly's better songs. I like that record.
I like Nelly growing up. You know what I mean? He wasn't in
the same category as KRS.
He made fun records. You know what I mean? Like, Nelly had bangers. Like, what are we really mad about? But I guess, like, at that time, like, KRS was still active. He probably felt the way, like, about that number. Is that the origin of the thing?
I thought it was that. I think you're right.
Was he just like, oh, this is the top dog. We're just going to spar on some, like, hip-hop battle shit. Which is like, okay. But then it's just like, it's weird, like, and then Nelly got back at him on the Rock the Mic remix.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Hold on. What is let's see if you think Google knows?
Probably not. It's too, like, nuanced for Google. You got to ask somebody, like, a real hip-hop.
If only we knew someone.
Who's the most hip-hop person you know? Like, that's the Google.
Oh, the producer Domingo. There's a clip of him on a podcast talking about it. There's a Nelly interview with Nelly talking about it. Then there's a clip that says the truth behind.
Nah, we're not watching. We're not watching the podcast on a podcast.
No, we're not.
That's like some...
That's too deep.
No.
That's one notch too far.
But
it is so random. So that's how you got to know KRS. That was the first time.
Yeah, but no, there was like a beef DVD that came out. I think it might have been 06. But they talked about like Shan and Chris, their rap beef. And KRS looks in the camera. He's like, yo, if you in the top 5 or like top 10 on Billboard, I got to fucking rhyme dissing you. I don't know if he was just being like, extra. But maybe he meant that, just like that's the way he practiced.
But I do have to ask KRS to this day, and he's one of he is like a dream interview for me and Syph.
You didn't talk to him yet?
Never on one app. Never
Man.
on one app. No, I tried. Mr. C, God bless, was working on trying to get us to sit down with him before he passed. We still have not gotten it done. I know it'll happen. But I've talked to KRS on camera, like just
right.
But never like sat down like 2 hours.
Yeah.
But the one thing I have to know, and I'm sure he's talked about it, but I have to know.
What's that?
What was he thinking with the Puffy remix of Step Into a World?
Oh.
What was he
What did you think about it?
I thought it was insane. I was like, why did KRS do this?
Is that because he was like the antithesis to you of the Puffy?
Yeah. I mean,
people really cared a lot about this like divide between the underground and the...
At that time, it was... And not that you didn't like both. Like, I enjoyed Puff records and I enjoy KRS records. But this is the same guy who years later was still willing to go at Nelly. Why would you have done Step Into a World, one of the greatest rap records of all time?
Mm-hmm.
And then he did a glossy-ass remix with Puff on it. It was so weird.
I don't know.
I still, to this day...
I think that might have been. Did it hurt KRS though? Like he still did him. I don't think.
I don't think
it wasn't like the Mike Geronimo record or something like that.
Because
Right.
Although it is similar.
Is it?
I think so.
It was just like a remix, though. No,
I think if we were to listen right now, I think we would think that the Mike Geronimo record was better than the Step Into a World remix record.
Really?
I think so. I don't hate Nothing Moved But the Money. It got me annoyed.
All your favorite artists are going to have like a few records you don't like. You know what I mean? But if you really rock with that artist, you'll find something great in the records that you don't like, too.
I wonder now if I heard Step Into a World remix, I'm sure I'd actually like
yo, it's dope. I love this.
I know. I do remember it was smoothed out. Like it smoothed out the original. I thought there was something to it, but it was just the principle of the whole thing. But yeah, we figured it out. KRS is the greatest.
Yeah.
I think he's the greatest performer of all time. And I think I think so much of it is his voice. So for you, if you were to get to like the dream scenario for Droog, you think you go out and do like, you'd want to do arenas. Perfect world, you want to do, like you said, Fish.
Like, yeah, big rooms. But I feel like there's a way to do it. Like, I feel like the way I approach my performances and I keep it interesting, I'll never do the same song every night. I want the fans to be like, oh, like, yo, he performed this on this beat, you know what I mean? Or like almost like a live mixtape every night, though. You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of like the
I got
Fish.
a lot to choose from. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But it won't be like a jam. What's the rap equivalent of a jam band? It's just like freestyle. We're not doing that. I'm not freestyling, but it's like
But that's what I would think it would be.
Bring out Super Nat.
Yeah, I was thinking Super Nat too, by the way.
Word.
He's one of the few people who could literally just rap all night.
I mean, I saw a clip of like Common freestyling. He's still,
Common will still do it too.
Yeah.
Common is one of those guys that if a beat plays, like he's rapping.
I feel like I like freestyling. I think it's cool. It's something you could do when you're drunk and, whatever. But like, I got too much respect for just the written word. Like that's where my bread is buttered. Like, I don't want to waste time. Like,
people are weird about freestyling. Like they're always overly critical of it. And you're like, it's a freestyle.
Yeah.
You can't expect, like, I don't know if anyone can freestyle in a way that sounds as ill as the illest record. Does anyone freestyle on that level?
But that's almost like street ball. Like somebody who's nice at Rucker, but they wouldn't last in the league. Like, I care about like the league. Like making music is like the playoffs. Like performing is like the final. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a big deal to
me.
You
care about your stats.
Yeah. I mean, not just stats. I care about the wins. Right. But like, I'm putting numbers up.
How did you find yourself so into hip hop? Was it just growing up in New York? And how much of like a Ukrainian household were you raised in?
It's 1,000% New York. Like who you go to school with, where you grow up, what your friends are into. It's kids like, yo, you haven't heard Who Shot You? Listen to Who Shot You. And then like I'm visualizing Sasquatch feet on the floor while I'm hearing it. So it's like, that's it, I'm in. Like, I'm turned out with this hip hop shit. I gotta hear every lyric ever spat by a human being. Like, that was my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling my sister to record Freestyle Friday on VHS. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better fucking do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're talking about amateur rappers on 106 and Park. But I'm like, yo, you better fucking
You need to know what happened. You need to know who was gonna win. Did you ever try?
What?
To get on 106 and Park?
I think like we flirted with the idea, but it was like, I'm glad I didn't. That's like the worst shit out. Like, who the fuck? Like, any organized battling is like, I feel like it's a scam. So like, I remember doing it before the cameras, like just, it was fun to me because I loved it. I was so entrenched in the culture where it was just like, you battle somebody, you couldn't fucking watch footage of it. You had to replay it in your mind later that day, like, and think about what this dude said, and like, and that made you better. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think I would have like a professional career. I was just doing it just because I loved it. And that's what, the foundation for it.
So was your what language was spoken in your house growing up?
Russian.
Russian was the...
And I'm Ukrainian. So I didn't even think I was Ukrainian. Like, and I go to school and they're like, you're fucking Russian? Like, this guy's fucking Russian. Like, the fuck? Like, it was like an insult.
To be Russian?
Yeah. And you got to understand, it's like, I talked about this with my therapist. A lot of my bullies, they were like Puerto Rican. So like that kind of like, and then I became a big pun fan. And then I'm ethnically ambiguous. And people start thinking I'm Puerto Rican, I'm rolling with it. So it's like, there's like a lot going on there. But it's just like, yeah, it wasn't cool to be foreign. You know what I mean? It's just like, especially you come to a different country, you don't speak a word of English.
Were you born, you were born?
I was born in Ukraine.
In Kiev?
And no. in Vinnytsia.
Okay.
Yeah, so my pops is from Kiev, though. I come here at 4, kindergarten, can't speak a word of English. Like, I got the lyric on my album, pointed in my mouth to tell the teacher I was thirsty. Like, that's what I was on. So I'm like, yo, I got to learn English. Like, I can't be out here to speak in Russian. You know what I mean? Like, even though there was like a few Russian kids, but we were all in the same boat. It's like, we better get on this American shit real quick. Like, see the alphabet on the wall. I'm like, all right, I know what I need to do. And I'm reading Goosebumps. I'm doing what I got.
And how quick did you?
Real quick. I think like probably that week. But I was like, nah, you're not about to have me out here looking crazy. Like,
But your family at home always spoke Russian.
Russian.
Still now.
To this day.
And who do you live with in your house?
My grandmother, my mother, my father, my sister.
And is there obviously you speak Russian and English. How's your grandmother's English?
She never learned English. You know, she passed in 2008, and she, you know, a few words, you know, like basic, hi, thank you, things like that. But yeah, to this day they still speak Russian. You know? And I never learned to read and write in Russian, so that was a little tricky too.
And you have a record on this album about your grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Grandmother's Lessons. My favorite record on the album.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it your favorite? It's a dope record.
For me, I'm not thinking about my career. I'm not thinking about being Old Droog or like where I stand in the music industry, how many followers I got, how many people bought a ticket. I'm just making like a heartfelt record. You know what I mean? It's like that I want to hear, that I want to make. And when I made it, I'm like, damn, like people might not dig this record, but people step to me and they're like, that's my favorite record on the album. Like people tell me they shed tears listening to that.
It's an incredibly emotional record. You have a few. I think that's really where you're at your best. I don't know if it's lyrically, it's because your lyrics are great in that area,
right,
or if it's because of your vocal quality. But there's something about you when you go into the sentimental, emotional retro that connects.
Those are my favorite records. You know what I mean? I feel like you can rap all day and be the nicest guy ever. I've done that. Like, I've made whole albums where I'm like, yo, I'm going to just get busy. And then when that's done, I feel empty inside. I'm like, this is like, it's like being like Yngwie Malmsteen or some shit, like like shredding on a guitar. Like, where's the soul? You know what I mean? Like, what are we really talking about? Like, and I feel like it's not even strategic. I'm not like trying to get an audience that way. It's just like, yo, I want to make like a heartfelt record. And that's what I'm into. Like, I want to hear a record like that. I don't know if everybody else does, but.
What's your favorite Jay-Z record?
My favorite Jay-Z record, like single or album?
Like if you were to just get in the car and you're like, I'm in the mood to listen to Jay-Z, where do you go?
Oh, man.
Or how about this? You're dating a girl and you want to, you're putting her on. She's like, oh, really? You're a big Jay-Z? I've never been a big Jay-Z fan. Play me a good Jay-Z record.
Let me be selfish first. There's a song called You're Only a Customer. I think it's on Streets is Watching soundtrack.
Yeah, I had it as a bootleg first from something.
But just like records like that, I like the records where he kind of like tells you what's about to happen. He says eventual triple platinum. Like, was he triple platinum at that time? I don't think so.
No.
That was right after Volume 1. But like there's a Jay record like before Reasonable Doubt. It's called like Reach the Top. And he basically tells you like everything that's gonna happen. So like, what's that Miley Cyrus song? Like the Jay-Z song was on? That's the Jay-Z song that was on. Like, Reach the Top, produced by Clark Kent.
For
like,
you.
From like, when I hear that, it's just like, yo, I see why he is who he became. You know what I mean? But as far as like record, he got so many different records. Like, I don't know. I like This Can't Be Life. When we talk about like
emotional
records that hit hard. But if it's like a summer day, I might play Guess Who's Back. And then you forget that Kanye made the beat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
you know, it's another. I bring this up a lot, but another good emotional one for him is Lost Ones.
Yo, listen, man. People talk shit about that album. I feel like that record, the intro, there's some other records.
He's got a handful on there that are still.
Yeah, and just snapped on that fucking Kingdom Come beat.
The song Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I talk about this a lot, but a lot of people do forget that as the years go on and you make tons of albums, you might be like, that album sucked. And then you go back, you're like, yo, if it had 5 joints on it, it didn't suck. That means they added to their already great catalog another 5 joints. Because most people's great careers, 3 or 4 albums that are
think about
perfect.
It. And artists like Jay, they want you to make fucking Blueprint and Reasonable Doubt and Black Album every time you rap. And like as an artist, you should have the freedom to try things and experiment or do something different. But I understand, like, when you're on that level, there's, like, a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? That's why 444 is, you know what I mean? Because it's, like, a different chamber of Jay that we hadn't seen. You know what I'm saying?
I really want to see what he does next. I refuse to believe that, like, he's not going to put out an album again. I don't believe it.
It's just tough. You know what I mean? It's like you dream to get to that point where you don't have to rap. But I don't think like the passion ever leaves you. You know what I mean? So,
but like we live in this world now where we're expected to grade Jay almost on how successful he is at life. Like,
what do you mean by that?
I've already
he mastered life already.
That's the thing. I'm done. Like,
yeah.
Congratulations. I'm super happy for you.
Yeah.
I will always be rooting for you. I support everything your wife does. Like, honestly, listen, these days, your wife gets the most play in my house. A lot of your wife play in my house. The whole family is killing it. Your career is undeniably the greatest rap career we've ever seen in terms of a career like what you've done. But like, I'm selfish. I want Jay-Z albums. Like, my life doesn't get enriched when I hear that Jay-Z has a new business that's great. I'm selfish with the artist. Like, I'm rooting for you, but I want the music.
I think there's a way to do it. I feel like the artist has to be inspired. Like, you can't force it.
No.
You know, it's not about bread for him at this point.
No.
It's not like, yo, I need to fucking, or I owe somebody an album. You got your own label. You don't owe anybody an album.
You can do whatever you want.
So I feel like there has to be something going on culturally or just something musically that speaks to him.
Right.
And I feel like he'll probably be like, yo, man,
I'm
trying to get him on his Mad Lib record. Like, I don't know.
But that's what happened with 444. Obviously, life happened.
Yeah.
And it pushed him to have to be artistic.
But
so we got a great album.
He can't just make like a regular rapidy rap album. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but why? Like, is it because the expectation will just be too high?
I mean, he could do whatever he wants. He can make like a Andre 3000. I feel like dudes should make like Andre 3000 type records where they're just like having fun, experimenting with rhymes. Like, it doesn't have to be an album per se.
No.
And you know what I appreciate about artists sometimes? Like, I don't want to judge everybody like on an album basis. Sometimes it's like your whole career. When I think of Jay, I think about like the entire career. It's not just like one album.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
There are a lot of, by the way, that's Drake to me too. I argue.
Yeah, people make a big fuss like he don't got a classic, but it's just like,
and
you can make a greatest hits of all his joints. Like,
no, it's the craziest greatest hits.
That's what I'm saying.
Of all time.
It's like 8 greatest hits.
No, it's listen. I'm one of those people who will argue Drake does not, to me, have the absolute seminal classic. But
Take Care.
I know it's just not for me. It's like, it's good. It's got joints.
I mean, it's not a classic to me, but it's just.
But
like,
they love. I mean, there are
You
people.
know what
out
I
there
like? Like, I know an album's good, or when you remember like when it came out, like where you were in life. So I was never like a Drake stan, but I remember like what was happening when he was dropping those records and shit.
No, it was like, well, but it was a moment. His whole emergence was a moment in time, right? Like, for sure. But
it helped change kind of like rap in a way, made it more melodic. You know what I mean?
Even
though that was like Cudi, Kanye, and Drake. But Drake had brought that singing.
Listen, man,
that's part of the reason why I was like a little, like, when I came out, it was a little weird because like all this melodic rap took over, and they were looking at me like,
now you just come with the rapidy rap.
Yo, that's why, like, yeah, it's tough too, like around.
But there was a time, you know, it was a good time. There's been a lot of people who rapped at least for a period of time.
Yeah, but I feel like this rap shit is so fickle. So much depends on like when you come out, what's going on, like sonically. You know what I mean? The climate. Like, if I come on the scene in 2012, 2011, things are different. You know what I mean? That's like ASAP, Schoolboy. Things are different. You know what I mean? A lot of dudes caught a wave just by being associated with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So 2010, like, it's different. I feel like things shifted. You know what I mean? And the blog era and all that shit was dying.
What year did you first drop?
2014.
14. It's right after.
So that's like, yeah. You should say like my condolences. Like, yeah, because
well, but you could argue it was a good time because
it was
you had just had Kendrick, Q, Bronson, Rocky. Like people did have an open mind to get raps.
But I feel like Young Thug and all they were quietly. Fetty Wap was running 2015. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
it's a time.
And then like Post Malone, Travis Scott. It's just like, where do I fit into all of this? And I'm not gonna like change who I am to try to be that. So like I stuck to what I'm good at. You know what I mean? But it's like it's tough. Like if that's the dominant sound, you got to confront some things about yourself. It's like, where do I fit in? You know what I mean?
Who are your you've had an ill list, including on this album. You have Method Man on there, Conductor Williams, of course,
Denzel Curry,
Yasin Bey. But you had sick collabs your whole life. Who's
unfortunate?
Yeah. Who are the ones that if someone was back, so who have you worked with? You rattle off quick.
Doom, Black Dart, Pharoah Monch, LP, all the dudes. There's so many. Like I forget. Even Madlib, just working with Madlib. Like,
so you have a full project with Madlib?
Yeah, we got more than one project, but yeah.
When are we getting that?
Probably this year. There's a crazy list of features on there. Like I could tell, I got a Wiz verse, like
a Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, a Wiz Khalifa verse and a couple others. But it's just I work with like a who's who. Like I forget like even before that, like working with like Joey and Styles and like on the humble too. Like dude just giving you a verse. It's not like what's your Cash App? You know what I'm saying? It's like dudes rock with you. So, but I'll be honest. I pay Doom. I don't give a fuck. Like
everyone paid Doom.
Yeah, it's just like at the end of the day, it's a business. Like I don't want to think you owe me something. You know what I mean? Everybody's time.
How did you pay him?
How did I pay him?
Yeah, was it digital payment or?
I don't know. It was through like a mutual business partner. So
got it.
He let me know how much he needed, and it was like a homie rate almost. So it's like.
How long was the wait?
Yo, it was pretty quick because I had that Hanukkah record, and I needed a verse. He delivered it like before the deadline, so that's a legendary feature. And I feel like he's like talking to me in that verse in a way. You know what I mean? Like that's the conversation we had through the music.
So cool that you got that. Oh, he's such a loss, man.
But even the first record we did was Dropout Boogie, but that's the last one that came out. And like when I got that verse back, it fucked my head up. It's like this is like KMD Doom or some shit like that. And like I had to like put myself in the mindset of like when I first discovered his music and like really enjoy that. Like, yo, this like a full circle thing. Cause I don't even think I'd be professional if it wasn't for somebody like that.
And you said you got beats from Mac Miller?
Yeah, I rapped on like 2 Mac Miller beats. But I work with Prodigy, Sean Price. Like
what records with Mac did you put him on a project of yours?
Nah, he was doing like a series of like he made the beat and then he just threw it out there. But a lot of people heard me for the first time. There's a funny story behind that.
Go ahead.
Prodigy wanted to sign me. And he got mad that I rapped on a Mac Miller beat.
Why?
Like, I don't know why. He was just like, I had a different vision for your career. It was like, but I'm like, yo, Prodigy cares. Like,
and by the way, Prodigy rapped on a Mac Miller record.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, like, what's... But I guess it was like so early in my career. I think I only had like a few songs out.
Got it.
Maybe he was like, yo, I feel like you should go in this direction. Like,
well, and
where that's like a weird. Like,
and where was Mac's brand at that point too? Like Mac hadn't all the way made it to like super respected musician yet.
Yeah, so
he was
maybe he was like right out of the frat era.
Right.
Yeah. So
because like not everybody knew. It was hard to predict that Mac's evolution would be what it was.
Yeah.
Although by the time he did the beats on Watching Movies, like the beats are crazy on that project.
Nah, he was snapping, man. But it's just like I felt some of that too because it was like, I'll be honest, I didn't love the beat that he sent me, but I understood like the business of it. I was like, yo, Mac Miller just sent me a beat. Like, I got to rap on it. But it's like, that's me like learning the business too and kind of understanding like the inherent compromise where you can't just always do what you want to do artistically. You know what I mean?
Right, if you want to have that moment and share it with someone, you're not going to hit them back and be like, nah, give me something else.
Yeah, but it's tough. You know what I mean? It's just like...
But he was also probably relatively new to beats too.
Yeah,
so
probably.
It
it wasn't like my favorite beat, but it's just I got a chance to just rap on it. But like I wouldn't listen to that today. I'd hear all the flaws, like you said, when you listen to your old radio tapes. It's just like, it's like being an artist. You improve, you know what I mean? Like you can't, I don't know any artist who could listen to their old shit and not cringe, you know what I mean? Unless it's really just like you would, that dude.
I know Nas.
Unless you're Nas.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Mac's a great example because you can't listen to the last 2 albums that he made before he passed and then compare it to his first album. You wouldn't even know who he was. Not that it was bad. It was just kiddie rap.
Let me say this. I went back and listened to like Mac Miller, like on the Lord Finesse beat.
Yeah.
Like when he first came out.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this shit is way better than I thought it was.
No, it's still good.
Yo.
It's good.
When I heard it as a kid, I was not a kid. I was like 20 or something. I was like, fuck is this shit? Like,
me too. Me and him beefed over that.
Really?
Yeah, I hated on it for no reason. For dumb white boy hate. I was like,
white on white crime and hip hop. We gotta talk about that.
I was like, why is he rapping on Lord Finesse? Instead of being like, oh shit, he wanted to rap on Lord Finesse.
Think about that. Yeah.
I hated on it. And now when you listen to Kool-Aid, Frozen Kool-Aid Pizza,
snapped.
No, it's a great cover.
He had a rhyme. It's really like he had a rhyme. Like I had a life similar to yours. Something like I used to go to camp and play sport.
Yeah.
This motherfucker. That's when he secured that white fan base. It's like we're in. Like
yeah.
I was really trying to like break it down, like why Mac Miller career took off and Asher Roth kind of like hit a wall. And some of that might be like management or like where you are, but I feel like they were similar in lane when they came out, but Mac Miller just kind of like took off. You know what I'm saying?
I have a lot of.
We got white rap theories.
I have a lot of thoughts on that. I was very close to both situations.
Yeah,
so I have theories.
So you got insight that other people might not have.
I do. But some of it is just a matter of like you said, Mac found a way to connect with people about his rise that was in a way that was different. He got everybody on board. He did the TV show, The Most Dope Family. Like he was very relatable.
He became cool with like Earl and Schoolboy. Like a lot of that is like a business mind too. Where like, yo, who you align yourself with. He picked the right dudes to rock with.
Always.
He could have been messing with some corny motherfuckers.
If you look at the list of people that Mac helped them further their career, it's one of the craziest who's.
I mean, he helped me. I mean, yeah. It's like even if it's like it's
impossible
to like quantify that, but yeah, it's like.
But like it goes on and on.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, wait, who? Then wait, SZA was and Anderson .Paak and
that's
like
what I'm
he
saying.
he just kept connecting people. Like that's just who he was.
Like I didn't know him that well, but he's like a good guy. I feel like that goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
he was the real deal.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you're also an old Droog to many. The album is called Movie. It's out everywhere. If for some reason you're listening or watching right now and you've never spent time, I really agree with you on that. I don't know if it's like your debut, but it's a great starting point for like someone if they've never listened to you, like hitting play on the beginning of this album and letting it go, I think is a great intro to who you are.
If you want to know who I am, listen to Movie. And then, but you never know. It's like the little features you do or like little side tracks that really contain like the nuances of your personality. But if you really want to get to know me, that Movie that's number one on the list.
I know you don't talk a lot, so thank you for making time and spending an hour with us. You want to go do some raps?
Let's do it, man.
We're going to do some raps. His name's Old Droog. Thank you, brother.
Peace.